Okay, let's continue on making changes to this picture here, and we're going to go ahead and continue to restore it from this and make it better. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to use the spot healing brush, and there's a few issues that I'm just going to go ahead and drag and all of these little cracks. Now remember, the spot healing brush is great because it samples the textures and the images. And let me zoom in here a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. But it samples this information, so as I drag, it copies around it and makes it a lot better. Now the clone stamp tool is also good at doing that. This is more for quick little edits, but when you really want to get in close and make some changes or really touch it up so that it actually looks really good, this is a real quick way of doing it. But if you use it too much, you'll notice that it starts to blur the pixels instead of actually clone and overwrite the area. So one thing with the healing brush is you can do the size, you can do just like the clone tool, the hardness, and then you can also do the spacing. And then you can also mess with the angle and the roundness of the brush. So, and here's the biggest thing is as you're working, spacing. So if you have a big part, it's going to take a big chunk and space it, but you don't want to do that. You want to make sure, well, you can, it just depends on where you're at, but you want to make sure that the hardness is on this one is probably up a little higher, and that's so that it doesn't go blurry, but it keeps everything rigid. And then you can size the brush up and down like that, or you can use the curly brackets to make them bigger or smaller, so just by clicking those. But I'm going to go through and just use this a little bit. You can see that it works pretty good for little teeny areas, and then you don't have to copy another area that maybe isn't as nice. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see this, and you can see right here, we'll just do it right there, and that looks pretty good. Now depending on excuse me, depending on what you were going to do with this, you might want to use the spot healing brush and the clone tool together. That's really what you'd like to do. See, I'm getting so close that now it's taking and sampling part of the hair and moving it over. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to take the clone tool, make it a little bigger, and I'll just copy right there, right over it. So that looks good. We'll go back to the spot healing, zoom out a little bit, and we'll fix these areas right here. And I'm going pretty fast. You know, if this was something that you really wanted to look good, you really would zoom in pretty close, and you would make sure that as you're using the tool that you're pretty close, so that when you see how it looks, it's in so close that when you zoom out it looks perfect. So at a regular size it looks pretty good. So that is again how to use, and I'm just taking these specks real quick that are looks like damages to the photo, maybe some scratches, and I'm just taking and healing just that spot by clicking, holding down the click button and dragging. So, and you want to keep this pretty small. You don't want to drag all the way across because then it leaves like a streak. You'll see a streak right there. So you wouldn't want to do that. But this also really helps as you're designing and touching up these photos, that you're able to move quickly through those. So the next video, we're going to really kind of use both the tools. We're going to start getting into levels and also adding a little bit more color, making this look even more new in photo restoration. So the next video, we'll kind of go through it and really make this look nice.